So last Thursday, the second Democrat Party's attempt to remove Trump's name from the Washington state partisan primary ballot, which is an election that's going to be held in March, it failed. Now, this time, it actually failed in Thurston County Superior Court. So let's just get into some of the specifics here. So last week, we actually produced a video which covered the first failed effort by Democrats to remove Trump from the Washington state primary ballot. And that happened a couple weeks ago. And I've linked to that video down below if you actually want to get some more of the details. But essentially, 8 Kitsap County voters filed a challenge to the partisan list of candidates that were put forth by the Washington State Republican Party to the Washington State Secretary of State, Steve Hobbs. Now, both the Democrat and the Republican parties submit these lists to the Secretary of State. Now, they do this every 4 years. There was nothing unusual about this year. Nobody has legally challenged these lists before, at least I can't find any evidence of this, but there was some confusion about a limited legal window of 2 days in which somebody could theoretically challenge the list, and under Washington state law, it had to be heard by a court in 5 days. Now, the Kitsap judge, in a hearing that lasted really just a few minutes a few weeks ago, he rejected that effort and he said essentially that a Kitsap County Superior Court judge just wasn't going to make a decision like this for the state. So this brings us then to last Thursday. Now, last Thursday's hearing in Thurston County Superior Court, which is the county where Washington State's capital and the Secretary of State, Steve Hobbs, are located, it heard essentially the same case by the same 8 Kitsap County voters because they had basically filed the same petition in both courts. Now, this time, they managed to kind of scrounge up some guy who claimed to be an attorney to represent them. And this time, the judge assigned to this case was Thurston County Superior Court Judge Mary Sue Wilson, who basically spent about an hour and a half very methodically kind of laying out her reasoning, the thought process, and an explanation for her final ruling. And it was in front of basically a packed courthouse that was filled mostly with Trump supporters and desperate Democrat Party approved kind of corporate media that was eager for some kind of anti-Trump drama to unfold. Now, at the end of the day, Judge Wilson rejected the effort to remove Trump from the March primary ballot, which was really the expected outcome by anybody who basically has even a marginally familiar analysis of this law. But in the weird world, of course, of the corrupted legal system that we have today, you just never know for sure. Now, the state Republican Party was represented by attorney Joel Ard, who had submitted a formal brief in the case, which Judge Wilson apparently hadn't read initially. And generally, there was some confusion in the courtroom, certainly on behalf of the plaintiffs who wanted to file kind of this wide variety of documents and statements that really didn't have much to do with the case that was before the judge. And just as an aside, I've actually posted a direct link to that brief that Joel Ard had filed, and the attachments are down below. You can go to that link if you want to read it for yourself. And, it might be something worth reading in your spare time just for reference. Now, the exciting thing for the Democrats and their approved kind of corporate media reps was not so much that they failed once again to protect democracy by first preventing the ability of people to vote in a democratic process for the politicians of their choice. We all know this, of course. The Democratic Party, in order to save democracy, and we live in a republic, but let's just pretend that some of these people actually want to save democracy. But first, they clearly need to destroy it, and that is the only way to save it, apparently, so we're told. So removing politicians you don't like from the ballot certainly seems like a logical step in this destruction experiment. The Democrats failed again last Thursday, but again, what they really got excited about, and I mean really excited about, was the fact that they can go ahead and try to do this again, maybe for the general election ballot. And this is going to be, of course, next time. Now, when I say they, I mean not just the Democrats, but their media cheerleaders as well. And who can blame them? I mean, nothing draws attention and excitement like drama. And you can certainly create drama by destroying democratic processes as you kind of go down the mythical yellow brick road of saving democracy. It is very exciting for sure. Now listen, it isn't clear to me, despite the corporate media's Democratic Party news agency, MSNBC of course, and their predictable headline, that the judge leaves the door open to future challenges. Well, did the judge really do this? Now, I've been in Thurston County Superior Court a lot. Not as much in the past couple years as I have been in the past, and I probably need to up my game and start changing that status a bit. But I don't believe that I've actually ever held a case or had a case that was before Judge Wilson. At least I really don't remember one. But in my experience, judges always avoid trying to say anything that would prevent people from filing new future cases, in other courts preferably, on other issues in the future. They always say this or something like it at the end of any kind of a hearing. And it's kind of funny how MSNBC interprets this as leaving the door open. Remember, even judges in Thurston County usually kind of try to rule in the cases that sit before them. Judges like to kind of kick the can down the road when they can, just like our politicians. And judges, just like most people, like to shift today's hassles into tomorrow's agenda if they can. Now, most likely it won't be that same judge's problem. It will be somebody else's problem, which is a good reason to kick it down the road. Now listen, this was just a sloppy NPR-inspired dream without any legal merit or much thought. And it was poorly executed to boot. But it was a pretty cool way to just kind of get every single media outlet to cover the lack of drama and kind of get some attention. Now I'm going to give some kudos right now to the 8 lefty activists who kind of given me just some fun ideas now that I think I can pursue myself. I mean, frankly, it never occurred to me to challenge politicians and candidates that I don't like and then try to remove them from the ballot. Nobody's really done this before in our state, but now the door has been opened, and I see lots of potential to make similar efforts against just a lot of creepy, weird, felonious politicians in our state. Now, here's a prediction that I have, and if I'm able to kind of find some kind of legal loophole that can help me save democracy by first destroying it, and in the process of helping save democracy, part of that process means I got to remove all the politicians that I don't like from the ballot the first chance I get. Well, my friends and viewers, if you thought my campaign finance complaint hobby was fun, this new Democrat-inspired effort could really be awesome. I just can't see how removing political choices from the people and reducing their options for who they can vote for will save democracy. But if the Democratic Party and their corporate media say it is saving democracy to do this, then let's just see how well we can save it. Of course, you know that the media won't cover my efforts to do this because I won't be basically making a government-approved effort. But that is why you watch this channel, and I can tell you all about it as we go along. Now, frankly, I'm trying to see how I can legally twist the law and basically in some way that would allow this. So I might have to take my cues from the Dems who are kind of pushing this agenda right now. But as Harvard's recently resigned and disgraced former President Gay has demonstrated for all of us, God gave eyes to plagiarize, and I'll just have to see what type of legal excuse the Dems cook up next time, and then try it out for myself on my long and fun list of political candidates. I'm already making that list right now, and just in case I'm missing somebody, please tell me in the comment section down below which candidates that you want to remove from the ballot this year. I suppose there's no reason to limit ourselves. Now, anyway, I really do disagree with this whole idea that you have to save democracy by first destroying it. And it, frankly, just never occurred to me before that you can save democracy by removing politicians that you don't like from the ballot. But if the Dems and their media allies say it's so, we might as well try it for ourselves. Now, regardless of how this activism effort actually goes, nothing really changes the simple fact that in order to make a difference in our communities, our state, and our nation, you and I, we have to show up. Because as I always say, in the end, the future belongs to those who show up.